You never saw it coming. That is the part that stays with you long after the damage is done. Not just what happened, but how cleanly it happened. How someone entered your life, understood your fears, identified your needs, and positioned themselves as the answer to both, before you had even asked the question. It did not feel like manipulation. It felt like connection, like finally being seen by someone who truly understood you. That feeling was the trap. And the most disturbing part is this: they did not need to know you for years to read you. They needed minutes. Because you, like every human being on this planet, have been broadcasting the most intimate details of your psychological interior your entire life. Not through words, through something far more honest. Your behavior, your reactions, your silences, your needs. This video is not about making you paranoid. It is about making you protected. Because the first line of defense against manipulation is never suspicion. It is self-knowledge. Section 1. The vulnerability signals. Skilled manipulators are, above all else, extraordinary observers. While most people move through social interactions focused primarily on themselves, on how they are coming across, what to say next, how they are being perceived, the manipulator is doing something entirely different. They are studying you. They are cataloging the slight hesitation before you answer a personal question, the way your energy shifts when certain topics arise, the difference between your public confidence and your private uncertainty, the subjects you deflect from, the compliments that land too deeply, the wounds you laugh off just a little too quickly. Every one of these signals is a data point, and manipulators collect them with the patience and precision of someone who understands exactly what they are looking for: unmet emotional needs, loneliness, unresolved self-doubt, the hunger to be valued, the fear of abandonment, the desperate, deeply human desire to matter to someone. These are not weaknesses unique to fragile people. They are universal, and that universality is precisely what makes them so consistently exploitable. Section 2. The likability illusion. Before a manipulator can exploit your vulnerabilities, they must first earn your trust. And the most efficient tool for manufacturing trust rapidly is a technique so elegant in its simplicity that it operates almost invisibly: mirroring. Mirroring is the deliberate adoption of another person's body language, speech patterns, values, and emotional energy to create an unconscious sense of familiarity and sameness. When someone subtly reflects your posture, matches your speaking pace, echoes your vocabulary, and appears to share your deepest values, your brain receives a powerful subconscious signal. This person is like me. This person is safe. They are not. But by the time that clarity arrives, trust has already been established. And trust, once given, is extraordinarily difficult to consciously override even when evidence demands it. This is not accidental. It is engineered deliberately, precisely, repeatedly. Section 3. The empathy scan. There is a painful irony at the heart of manipulation. The qualities that make you a genuinely good human being are the exact same qualities that make you a target. Your empathy, your willingness to see the best in people, your capacity to feel someone else's pain as though it were your own, your instinct to help, to fix, to stay when leaving would be easier. Manipulators identify these qualities not to appreciate them, but to weaponize them. They present vulnerability strategically. They manufacture crises that activate your compassion. They position themselves as perpetually misunderstood, perpetually wounded, perpetually in need of exactly the kind of care you are most naturally inclined to provide. And because your empathy is genuine, it never occurs to you that theirs might not be. You now understand the architecture of how you are read. The vulnerability signals you broadcast without awareness, the artificial intimacy constructed through mirroring, the calculated exploitation of the very qualities that make you human: your empathy, your generosity, your capacity to care. But knowledge alone is not armor. Understanding manipulation intellectually and recognizing it in real time, while you are inside it, while it feels like love or friendship or genuine concern, are two entirely different skills. And the gap between those two skills is exactly where manipulators continue to operate, even in people who consider themselves informed, not by turning you cold, not by dismantling your trust in humanity, but by doing something far more powerful and far more permanent, rebuilding your relationship with your own judgment until it becomes the most reliable instrument in every room you walk into. Section 4. The urgency trap. The rational mind is a manipulator's greatest obstacle. When you are calm, grounded, and given adequate time to think, you make decisions aligned with your actual values and genuine interests. You ask questions. You notice inconsistencies. You trust the quiet voice that says something here does not feel right. Manipulators know this, and so they systematically eliminate the conditions that allow rational thinking to function. They manufacture urgency. They engineer emotional pressure. They create artificial deadlines, dramatic crises, and heightened emotional atmospheres specifically designed to move you from your thinking mind into your reactive one. I need your answer now. This opportunity disappears tonight. If you truly cared, you would not need time to think about it. These are not statements. They are traps designed to make hesitation feel like betrayal and deliberation feel like disloyalty. Here is the single most powerful response to engineered urgency: stillness. The moment someone makes you feel that slowing down is a moral failure, that is the precise moment slowing down becomes non-negotiable. Legitimate people, legitimate opportunities, and legitimate relationships never require you to abandon your own judgment as the price of entry. Pressure is not passion. Urgency is not importance. And anyone who cannot wait for your considered response does not deserve your unconsidered one. Section 5. The guilt architecture. Of all the tools in a manipulator's arsenal, guilt is the most structurally sophisticated because, unlike urgency, which is temporary, guilt is self-sustaining. Once a manipulator successfully installs a sense of obligation within you, through manufactured sacrifices, strategic suffering, or the constant, subtle implication that you are never quite giving enough, you become a self-policing prisoner. The bars of the cage are built entirely from your own conscience. They do not need to pressure you anymore. You pressure yourself. This is guilt architecture at its most refined, an invisible system of psychological debt that expands no matter how much you repay it. You give more and feel you owe more. You sacrifice more and feel you have sacrificed less. The goalpost is never fixed because its purpose was never fairness. Its purpose was control. Recognizing guilt architecture requires one foundational question asked with ruthless honesty. Is this obligation something I genuinely chose, or something I was maneuvered into feeling? Chosen responsibility is honorable. Manufactured debt is a cage. You are allowed to know the difference. You are allowed to act on it. Section 6. Pattern interruption. Manipulators succeed through predictability, yours, not theirs. They have studied your patterns. They know which emotional buttons produce which responses. They know how you react to conflict, to guilt, to warmth, to withdrawal. They have mentally mapped the architecture of your behavior and built their entire strategy around navigating it. The most devastatingly effective defense is therefore not confrontation. It is becoming unpredictable to them, not chaotic, not reactive, but grounded in something so internally consistent, so deeply rooted in genuine self-awareness, that external pressure simply finds no purchase. This is what radical self-knowledge produces: a person who cannot be easily read because they have already read themselves, who cannot be destabilized by manufactured urgency because they have already defined their own pace, who cannot be paralyzed by engineered guilt because they have already established their own values. When you know exactly who you are, what you stand for, and what you will not compromise regardless of the emotional weather around you, the manipulator's map of you becomes instantly obsolete. You become, in the most powerful sense of the word, unreadable. Let us hold this complete picture for a moment. Manipulators do not possess supernatural gifts. They possess something far more accessible and far more correctable: directed attention. They watch what most people ignore. They exploit what most people leave unexamined. They operate in the space between who you present yourself to be and who you actually are when your defenses are down. Close that space. Not by becoming guarded, isolated, or emotionally armored against the world, but by doing the quiet, courageous, transformative work of genuine self-examination. By understanding your own unmet needs before someone else identifies and exploits them. By recognizing your own emotional patterns before someone else maps and manipulates them. Your empathy is not a liability. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. Your capacity to trust is not naivety. They are profound human strengths that simply require the protection of equally profound self-awareness. The most unmanipulable person in any room is never the hardest, the coldest, or the most suspicious. It is the most self-possessed. And so we leave you with a question that deserves more than a passing thought. Right now in your life, is there a relationship, personal, professional, or otherwise, where you consistently leave feeling smaller than when you arrived? Where your needs are always secondary, your boundaries always negotiable, and your discomfort always somehow your fault? If something came to mind before you finished reading that sentence, do not dismiss it. Do not rationalize it. Do not minimize it out of loyalty to someone who has never extended you the same courtesy. That instinct you just felt, that is not paranoia. That is your judgment finally being heard.